Hi everyone. Hope you all are having a great weekend. So, there was a game today. This is the women's college basketball. It was a game about, I wouldn't say about, but the team that played today was Tennessee versus Texas. And of course, I was rooting for Texas because I know I made another video where Texas played Stanford. And I was happy that they beat Stanford because Stanford was basically one of the top teams in the nation, and Stanford was always put up on a pedestal. So today, which is Sunday, November 21st, 2021, Texas played Tennessee at their home court today. And it came on at 1 o'clock. And Texas lost. And I was so upset because they had Tennessee in the beginning. I had to write down a few things that I've seen, but there were a couple of things that I remembered. I want to talk about the fourth quarter because during the fourth quarter, that's when Texas started slacking. They were missing shots, and then the player Mathoru, who's one of my favorite players on Texas, she played very well. What I was upset with her about is that she missed free throw shots that could have had them caught up in the game because the game was overtime. There was an overtime game. So the score of the game ended up being, towards the end 70-76. It would have been less than that if it wasn't an overtime game. So obviously Tennessee had 76, Texas had 70. Mathoru got on the free throw line. She missed two of her free throws. That was just a big no-no. Like, that was the problem with Texas. They started actually slacking off during the fourth quarter. I would say the slacking off has something to do with free throws being missed. And there were other things going on. Just trying to shoot. They were missing shots. What I think during their defensive end, I would say offense, their offensive end when they had the ball, they were slacking off at that part during the fourth quarter. So I want to get to the point about Tennessee. So Tennessee has, their head coach Kelly Jolly. She's Kelly Jolly Harper now because I know she's married. But I know at the time when she was playing for Tennessee, when Pat Summitt was the coach at the time, by the way, I would like to say rest in peace, Pat Summitt. Pat Summitt is one of the greatest coaches of all time. I love Pat Summitt. That was when Tennessee was one of my favorite teams at the time when Pat Summitt was alive and she was coaching the team. I was just so in love with Tennessee. That was just one of my top teams. That's all I used to talk about was Tennessee years ago, when Pat Summitt was around. Now that she's not there anymore, they're probably a different type of team. I don't know. But right now they're 4-0. They were 3-0 before they beat Texas. Now they're 4-0. And I'm not going to say I'm going to give Tennessee a chance. All I can say is, you can pray for them and hope, they go all the way now that they have a different coach. Not trying to say Kelly Jolly's a bad coach. I believe she has, potential to be a good coach. I remember she was coaching another team, Missouri. I think the team is called Missouri State a few years ago. Or I don't know when I know, not a while back, not too far back along, but I know she was coaching Missouri State maybe a year ago or two. And they made it to like maybe the Sweet 16 or the top Elite 8. And then after that, she went to coach Tennessee, which is the team she used to play for in college. I do remember Kelly Jolly because I know I used to watch her play ball with Tennessee, at the time when Pat Summitt was coaching. Kelly Jolly was very good on Tennessee. She was a point guard. She was playing with Shamika Holesclaw, and she was playing with I forgot the other girl name. She came to the game today. She was in the WNBA, or she was in the WNBA. And she could have retired from the WNBA. I think I wrote her name down, and she's good too. Tamika Catchings. She was on the team with Tamika Catchings. I remember it was her, Tamika Catchings, Shamika Holesclaw, and maybe others, but I know them three were the main ones I remembered. And they played with Tennessee. And Kelly Jolly was a point guard at the time. And now she's coaching, which is a good thing. Because I actually thought, Kelly Jolly was going to play for the WNBA. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's injuries that could have prevented her from playing. I don't know the reason, but I know she ended up not playing. And she just started coaching, which is a good thing because sometimes if you don't get drafted to the WNBA, we don't know why some players don't go to the WNBA. The WNBA. There's reasons behind it. It could be injuries or it could be other stuff going on. But sometimes it turns out that they're coaching women's college teams, which is also a good thing. It's good. I find that not bad if you don't go to the WNBA and you coach women's college basketball. That's a good thing because I know Adia Barnes, she's popular in women's sports and she coaches Arizona. I know in the WNBA, she wasn't probably one of the top players that they talked about. Like, for example, they talk about Candace Parker, they talked about Lisa Leslie, they talked about Lobo. But Dia Barnes played in WNBA for a few years and she's coaching Arizona and she's doing very well. She's still very known, just coaching Arizona. And Dawn Staley, she's coaching South Carolina. So Dawn Staley and what's the woman named Adia Barnes, they're doing very well for themselves. So I want to talk about Tennessee. Now, Tennessee, in the beginning of the game, this was like the first quarter. They had trouble getting the hoop to the ball. So their defensive end was not very well. They was like just slacking during the defensive end. Like the ball kept getting taken away. And then that's the thing with Texas. They had they're still good with a lot of speed. They're very quick on the court. Texas, they're good with steals. I can give Texas that. They're good with stealing the ball and taking it away. That's something teams need to watch out for with Texas. They're good with stealing the ball, especially that Harmon chick. She's one of the top players in Texas. She's good at taking the ball away from a player. And she knows how to handle the ball. When the ball is in her hand, I noticed that she's good at handling the ball down the court. She has no problem with that. So that's something to look out for. That's just my advice to other teams that go against Texas, that they know how to steal the ball and get it down their way to the hoop. So their offensive end on Tennessee was also on and off. Or, they had their problems. Like I said, with the ball getting taken away. Some players that are very good, like I think her name is Tamara Key. She's very tall. I think they were trying to get the ball to her. She's very tall. She could be like a center. So I think they was trying to give it to her and let her score. So she scored a few points. She was like the center person scoring. So they were trying to give it to her half of the time. So I like the part what Tennessee did when they did like a press break. When they got the ball and they just went all the way down, then they passed it, then they just took it to the hoop. I like that part. They did good on that. There's another player on Tennessee. I had to write down the names like I talked about in my other video because I don't, I'm trying to get familiar with their names. Jordan Walker. She scored a 3-point shot. She was trying to get the team caught up. And then next thing you know, she ended up scoring a 2. And then another part of the game I liked was when Alexis Dye, she tied the game 12-12. Another thing about Tennessee, there's another girl I saw, I think her name is Sarah Puckett. She's good. She's okay. I think she scored maybe, I don't know how many points, I know she scored maybe a few points. Maybe, I think what did I write down? I think like a 3-point 3-point shot. Jordan Horston, I think I pronounced her name right. She is the one to watch. She has, I would say, on the court, great body control at the basket. She was pulling through for the team. Horston also makes tough shots. Um, but Tennessee, all I would say, all I have to say is they were very horrible during, like, it was a struggle for them. First, second, third quarter. They stepped it up during the fourth quarter. I thought they were not going to make it. I thought Tennessee was actually going to just like beat them, because Tennessee had them first, second, and third. All of a sudden, it's an overtime. So they stepped it up. I would say, during the fourth quarter, they stepped it up because it ended up being the overtime, 59-59. That was the overtime score, so it was a tie. I would say the person that tied the game during 16.4 seconds during the fourth quarter was, I can't remember her last name, but her last name was Dye. Dye. I think that's how you spell her last name. I can't remember the first name. I'm just saying the last name was Dye. So she tied it during 16.4 seconds during the fourth quarter. As I was watching the Tennessee versus Texas game, I did look on the Tennessee court and I saw where they had the summit. I was like, oh, that's very cool. They put the summit on there, meaning they're still representing Pat Summitt. And I respect that. I like that. I like how they did that. Pat Summitt is one of my favorite coaches. Again, I have to say rest in peace to Pat Summitt. I know she's very proud of Kelly Jolly taking over the team. And I know this is not part of the video, but I do wish what's her name? Shamika Holdsclaw could come back and start doing something with basketball. I don't know what Shamika Holdsclaw is up to at this point. It would be good if she, coach a team or get involved with the WNBA in some way where she's shown on TV, either coaching the WNBA or coaching women's basketball. That would be cool to see her do that, because I just feel like I haven't seen her, out there in basketball in a while, like getting involved on TV. Maybe she's doing something behind the scenes on TV. I'm not sure, but I know on TV she's not really, it doesn't show what she's doing as far as getting involved with the new generation of women's basketball, women that are playing right now. So I would love to see that. But whatever she's doing, I'm sure she's okay. I'm not going to judge and say she's doing bad because I don't know. I just don't hear about her coaching a women's college basketball team or being an assistant coach or coach for a WNBA or etc. Something around that. Being on TV. I don't see it. So I want to talk about Texas. I'm very disappointed in Texas because I was actually rooting for Texas to win. I was just so disappointed. I was like, and then it was an overtime. And I'm like, okay, maybe Texas turned it around and beat them. And then Tennessee happened to beat them. I just wanted to scream, because Texas starts slacking off during the fourth quarter. They missing free throws. And then you have, I think I wrote down some notes. So some good things about Texas in the beginning. Their defensive end is good. Their defensive end is very good. Mathoru plays good as usual. In the first quarter, she started out, with the team scoring points. She scored like 4 points during the first quarter. She scored more, but like when the game started, she was one of the people that started out with her points first. Harmon, she's good at stealing the ball. Audrey Warren, she comes in playing hard. I think she fell and got injured. She was on the ground where one of the girls could have landed on her face. I don't know what exactly happened. She was hurt again. Because I know when she played Stanford, she was on the ground. hurt. And then she's on the ground hurt at this game. And I'm like, what is up with this? What's up with her? Like being hurt. I don't know if that's a habit, but I'm going to keep watching Texas. Alan Taylor, she's another good player. So my top three favorite players on Texas is Harmon, Mathoru, and Alan Taylor. So my number one, I love Harmon, but I think I gotta choose Mathoru as my number one favorite player because she kills it every time on the court. Um, Harmon is still good. She's the one to watch. So give her a few years. She's gonna get drafted to the WNBA. Mark my word. She's gonna be in the WNBA. What's the other player name? Mathoru. I know she's gonna be in the WNBA also. Alan Taylor. She's another one to watch. She's gonna be in the WNBA. What else I want to talk about? Mathoru. She scored at least maybe 2 3-point shots, 2 or 3 3-point shots. I know she was consistent with that. And what else I want to talk about with Tennessee? I did mention that toward the very end of the game. Now, I want to talk about free throws. Free throws are very important in the game. Mathoru had no business missing her free throw shots toward the end of the game. I know she got fouled again and she got on the free throw line again, and then she ended up scoring her 2 shots. But before then, she missed. And I think if she would have scored those free throws, they would have been caught up. So I was very upset, from that. Um, the thing about Texas, they made a mistake when, I know I wrote some down. Okay, so a mistake Texas did was, I believe it was, I don't know, they were a point ahead or maybe it was a tie. The clock was running down. It was maybe about 10 seconds left. Could be during I don't know if it was during the fourth quarter before overtime, but it was very close. Maybe it was the fourth quarter. I can't remember, but I think they could have. All I have to say is that the mistake was at when they shot the ball during like 10 seconds left. Oh, you know what? It could have been the fourth quarter. I have to think about it. The fourth quarter. It was like 10 seconds left. Instead of just holding the ball, instead of just passing it to each other, holding it and not shooting it, I can't remember, somebody tried to shoot the ball. I think it was Mathoru. I can't remember exactly. One of the players tried to shoot the ball when it was like 10 seconds left, and I'm like, no, just hold it. And then I think when they tried to shoot it, Tennessee got the ball, took it down the court, and one of the girls tried to shoot it. They could have scored that point, and then it ended up being about maybe 2 point some seconds left. So that was the mistake Texas did. Instead of just passing the ball to each other, somebody went on and shot the ball, and then Tennessee got it. And then that team could have scored at the time. They ended up winning, but before the overtime, that person, it could have been, I don't know if it was Horton. Maybe Horton had the ball and tried to shoot it. And then didn't go in. It was like during, I think, 2.6 seconds in the stop, because somebody could have, I guess, I don't know what happened. That was the mistake Texas made. Just shooting instead of holding the ball and just run the clock down. That's something they need to work on as well. And basically, they were just slacking off during the fourth quarter, missing shots, the ball getting taken away. Tennessee was the one doing the stealing toward the fourth quarter, toward the end. They stepped it up all the way. I'm proud of Tennessee for stepping it up. But I'm still rooting for Texas, even though they lost. There's hope for them. I see the potential in the team. Just because they lost today doesn't mean, they're not going to go all the way. People have bad games or bad days. So I'm going to keep room for Texas. So the final score ended up being 70. Texas has 70. Then we have Tennessee. Tennessee had 74. And that is all I want to say about the game. That is it. There was another game I watched a few days ago. It was Tennessee Tech against Vanderbilt. I'm going to do another video on that. So this video is just pertaining to Tennessee and Texas. Another video that I'm going to do is the Tennessee Tech against Vanderbilt. So I want to separate the two games. All right, so you all have a great night. There's another game tomorrow, which is Monday. I think it's a tournament game that some of the teams are playing in the Bahamas. So I'm definitely going to watch that tomorrow. And I believe UConn is playing tomorrow. And I need to watch UConn because I heard of this player called Azzi Fudd that's good. I believe she's a freshman. Then you have Paige Beckers. She's on the team, so I'm definitely watching that game, and I'm going to do a video on that. So please watch the game. And that is about it. Please watch my other video that I'm going to do in a second. That's Tennessee Tech against Vanderbilt. And have a great night.